Yeah, sure. Hey, Eric, how you doing?
Good. How are you, Bob? Long
I'm
time.
good. Yeah, no, long time no see. Appreciate you doing it though, because we couldn't ask you about Auburn last night, really. Hey, I was thinking about it, and I think maybe the word we both were looking for about Ricky not starting to have maybe it's accountability. Do you think that's a good word? I mean, when a guy plays that kind of minutes, you got to, and he's not performing up to his usual level, you got to hold him accountable. Is that maybe what you're going for?
Yeah, I mean, I just think that yeah, I mean, what's the question, Bob?
Well, I mean, do you feel like, hey, whether it's Ricky or whoever, if he's playing big minutes and he's a minus 18, you sit him down to start the half because you want to hold him accountable. Is that
Yeah,
is
I
that
mean, I think that's fair.
okay? Maybe could you expand on that a little bit? And also, I thought Ricky had a pretty mature approach. Some guys, they don't take that too well. And he came back and played, exceptionally well in the second half. Just what do you think about the maturity and how he handled that?
Yeah, no, I thought he handled it the right way. Because I think anytime that a role changes or whatever, you always want to be ready when called upon. And I thought when he went in the second half, he was phenomenal. But there's also got to be a certain trust factor between player and coach that because I mean we were still down in the half. Like, I mean, we need, I mean, he's one of our best scorers. He's one of the best in the SEC at creating his own shot. So we certainly needed we needed Ricky to perform well, whether he started in the second half or not.
So do you go to him in the locker room and say, hey, Ricky, you're not starting a half, or how do you handle that?
It didn't quite go like that, but
How'd
that's
it go?
hey, when Joseph, you're starting, Ricky, you're not starting.
Okay. Well, that's clear and to the point. I like that. And then actually, I think Scotty's honored, but I think he's got a ill child at home. He's caring for, but he wanted to know about Makai's rim, his shot blocking run he's been on, and what you think, I guess, about his rim protection in that regard, and then the matchup against, I don't know if you say Broom or Bromy or the big kid at Auburn that's doing so well for them.
Yeah, Makai's done a phenomenal job for us, blocking shots, protecting the rim, doing a great job rim rolling. And then certainly, number 4 and number 44, Cardwell is a returner, and 4 is a transfer. Both those guys are really good shot blockers, excellent around the rim. They're different players at that center spot, but both bring great qualities for Coach Pearl's team. And in this league, you've got to have bigs in order to win at a high level, and certainly with Auburn's front line, because Williams, number 2's played well, and Chris Moore has done a really good job, number 5, and Flanagan's he played really well yesterday against Georgia. So I think it's across the board, their front line's really good, and Makai's done a great job for us rebounding defensively. Like I said, done a good job rolling and catching the ball in traffic off our pick and roll game, and certainly done a really good job protecting the rim.
You talked about trust a minute ago. What kind of increased trust that maybe you and the coaching staff and the players have in Joseph? And I assume he's probably earned more minutes moving forward.
Yeah, Joseph's, I mean, he's done it, he's done what you would hope, which all of our guys have, staying ready, getting shots up, getting reps up, taking practice serious. I think all of our guys have done a really good job of that. And then he got an opportunity. I mean, Joseph's strength is an area that we've struggled in. And, he can make threes. He can stretch the defense out. He's got a really quick release. And at times we've really needed perimeter shooting. And so he's been able, he was able to provide that for us. And some other nights it might be a different type player that's needed. I mean, in our San Diego State game, Barry Dunning played, I think, 7 minutes in that game. Because we needed, some physicality and some length, and needed a guy that could guard kind of a 3-4 against San Diego State based on some foul trouble. So you just never know when you're going to be called upon. You just hope that, when you go in, that you can produce and help the team.
Okay, I've got a couple more, but I'll turn it back to Mike. Thanks, Eric.
Hutch.
Yeah, Coach, I'm curious if you've maybe been able to pinpoint a reason behind y'all's slow offensive starts the last couple of games, and maybe what y'all are going to maybe focus on at practice the next couple of days to help that against Auburn.
Yeah, I don't think we're not going to be able to solve a whole lot of problems because obviously you look at the minutes it's not just the minutes that guys are playing, but the other thing too, Hutch, is when you're down 2 players, that means there's more reps going to players that play high minutes. Because one of the reasons that like maybe at Nevada we had a lot of walk-ons. You're able to get more reps spread out, but you're still able to cover a lot of things. And with a smaller roster, everybody's kind of getting reps. And so it's, we're not going to be able to go long today. And then tomorrow, we'll shoot once we get to Auburn, but we're not going to be able to, it's a travel day. And there's a reason it's 40 minutes. I'd certainly rather be playing better in the second half and closing games out than playing really bad at the end of the game and playing great out of the gate.
That's fair. And also going back to Makai, we've noticed that it seems like he scores y'all's first points almost every game the last several month or so. Is that just a coincidence, or is there something about him early in games that y'all like going to?
Well, I think you want to reward a guy that's a defensive anchor for you. And I think that anytime you can score or touch the ball, Coach Daly used to talk about engagement. You kind of get engaged in the game quickly if you feel a part of it. Oftentimes in the past, we've tried to, not necessarily this year, but in the past, we've tried to run a first play of the game that multiple people touch the ball to feel some involvement early on. So certainly trying to get him going early, and then maybe see a ton of energy at the defensive end and on the glass becomes important for us to start games off.
Curtis.
Hey, Coach, you kind of touched on some of this, but you mentioned last night that you guys kind of had that full week of prep for this Missouri game. Now you're on the opposite end of the spectrum with the short turnaround and the travel day. I'm just curious, how do you turn the page quickly after an emotional win and then get the level of scout and game preparation that you want to in? I've got to assume your staff has a lot to do with that.
Yeah, the staff's done a great job. I mean, we rotate the preps, all 3 of them. And I kind of like the delivery that all 3 guys do. Ruta's got his own approach. Coach Smart has his own approach. Coach Arginal has his own approach. And then, we sit together and collaborate on ideas as well and come up with a game plan and a plan A, plan B, and a plan C. But, when we're on a short turnaround time like this, a lot of it becomes mental, a lot of it becomes video, a lot of it becomes individual meetings. All those things become important, Curtis, as we try to, get as much prep in as we can between now and game time, in Auburn.
And then, you guys are a mostly new roster. Auburn has a ton of returners. I guess with that in mind, do you expect them to have, I don't know, maybe a little extra motivation or energy given how things played out in the game in Bud Walton last season? Is that something that you talk to the guys about?
Not really, because it's just, we just don't have, obviously Kamani and Devontae, those 2 guys were part of it. But I just think when you have a new team, there's certainly there can be certain emotions. I was worried about how are we going to play against Missouri, based on, last year, the way we played so well, and there was a large, scoring difference in the game at our place. Were we going to be focused and have tremendous respect? And I mean, my wife said that none of them were here. They don't even know the score, coach. Like, why are you worried about that? And she's right. And I think same thing with this. I mean, I know how good Flanagan is, and I know, how good Williams is and what a matchup problem number 2 is. And I know the energy that Cardwell brings and the enthusiasm that he brings to the home crowd. And we know the explosiveness in the backcourt of Green and Johnson, how they can shoot threes and dribble drive. And we know that Chris Moore plays with great energy and pounds the offensive boards and is a really good cutter and improved 3-point shooter. We know Jasper can make threes and puts great ball pressure. And Donaldson, number 3, has played some really good games for a freshman. So all these things, but we got to teach our guys who these players are, because it's a new team in the SEC rotation, so to speak.
Bob, follow up.
Yeah, Eric, obviously Auburn had kind of a tough loss at Georgia. Georgia looks like they're a lot better than last year, but they've won. Auburn, I'm talking about, it's won 26 in a row at home. How big a challenge is it playing in that arena? It's kind of cozy and they get pretty rowdy and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think everybody in the country knows that playing a road game at Auburn is as hard as anywhere in the country. Coach Pearl has done a great job of creating an environment. I know the last home game they had, I watched it on TV and it looked like they had a great student turnout, even though we all know it's still a school break time. But yeah, that's a really, really hard place to play. And the record tells you so. When you win that many games in a row, that's why it's one of the hardest buildings to win in the country.
And I know they all even out 9 at home, 9 on the road, but 3 of your next 4 are on the road. And I think 4 of your first 6 are on the road in the conference. Just how tough is that?
Yeah, like you said, Bob, I think it'll all even out. I think with each road game, our younger players and our new roster kind of grows together. I don't think there's any doubt that the LSU environment was new for all of us, and you grow and you learn through those experiences. Playing in Hawaii, I think, really helped us, and love the environment in Tulsa. That was really good for our team. But I just hope that we continue to learn and grow, and road games oftentimes help you do that.
And then we know Nick, I guess, saw a specialist out in California. Any update on him? I assume he's still out indefinitely. And
Yep. Yeah, there's no update. Has seen a specialist, remains in LA. And, I would assume that that'll be, the case for, the next, not to speculate, but that's probably going to be the case for, throughout the rest of the month. And then, where it is at that point, probably, reevaluated it, but certainly, not the expectation that he'll play in the next few games.
so do you mean he'll be in California through the end of the month? Or you just mean it'll be indefinite for the foreseeable future?
He's in California right now, today, as we speak.
Yeah, but you said something like you assume that would be the case for the rest of the month. You mean he's going to be in California all that time?
No, I'm saying we can anticipate that he will not be playing.
I got
you. Yeah.
Okay, I'm not always the sharpest knife in the drawer. So thanks, Eric. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate your time.